Hey up guys, it's Ricky here. I have known some people take an absolute age, years in fact, to learn how to play their scales because they struggle to memorize the patterns. In this lesson, I'm going to show you the secret to learning your scale patterns quickly, getting them in your muscle memory, and the sooner you can do that, then the sooner you can add them to your lead guitar playing. Now this is a recording from my Facebook group and I would love to see you in there. There's a link to that in description. Let's crack on with the video. Okay, so you've decided, the long and short is you've decided to learn scales because you want to be the melody in the song. That's the area that you want to explore of your playing. Essentially, it boils down to the three things, and I talk about these in my videos, the way we understand things and the way we take in information. These three things that we need to understand and observant of. Yeah, if you aren't observant of certain things in your playing, if you find that you play stuff and you didn't really observe, then that means that you are playing and practicing too fast. You're going too fast for you to be able to take the information in. If you just think about your brain as being a computer, if you just typed nonsense at the keyboard, then you're going to get nonsense back out. It's as simple as that. So take your time, put that information in. Don't feel pressure to do it any other speed apart from your own speed. I often demonstrate stuff to students and then they try and do it at the same speed as me, and I say, hang on, you're not going to play it at the same speed as me because you haven't internalized it in the same way that I have. Getting back to these three things, the first is the kinesthetic. That's how it feels. So when you put your fingers on your frets, especially as a beginner, you are going to be super aware of how it feels. How it feels is really the first indicator of data that you're putting into your brain, really. But then what we do is we use these scale box patterns we look at, and that's a picture. So that's a visual thing. So that's a visual input. So how it feels input, then we've got a visual input. The last one, the one that we're actually after, is the audio, the auditory, how it hears. How it sounds, sorry, how it hears. That's the last one to work. You know which fingers you're meant to be using, and you know what the pattern looks like from the diagram. And I would say, guys, use diagrams, don't use tab. Tab is awful because what you've got to do is you've got to build up the visual picture. A little kind of caveat with the visual picture is that you may think you know the picture, but do you really? You've got to have the picture 10 out of 10 in your brain. When you recall that picture, if I said to you now to imagine a D chord, do you get a strong picture of a D chord in your head? Do you get a sense of how it feels when you press that down? Do you get a sense of what that sounds like? Can you hear the chord? Generally, I know you'll see the picture first, maybe how it feels, but the sound of it is generally the last thing that happens. The way I see it is once you have all three things, then that becomes mastery. That's what mastery is. So those three things equal mastery. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the minor pentatonic. I'm going to go through the easiest and the best way, I think, to learn the minor pentatonic would be. And I've got the pattern in front of myself. We're going to play each note 4 times. If you can do alternate picking, do alternate picking. It will save you a lot of hassle later on. Alternate picking is very simple. Don't overthink about it too much. All I'm doing is picking a string down and up. The reason this is important, if you just do downstrokes, down, 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 you have a missed upstroke every time. So down, miss, down, miss. Now, if you use that miss, then that's an extra note, halving your workload. Alternate picking is a good way around this. What we're going to do is we take any scale and you go as slow as you need to go. It's about performing the exercise. So we're going to play the minor pentatonic. This is in A minor from the 5th fret. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick each note 4 times. What we're doing is we're building up the kinesthetic and the picture. The key is to build the pattern, and it's to give yourself plenty of time to understand it. Let your body understand that it's learning a pattern and avoid blustering through it and missing the whole thing. You've got to be observant. So what I do is I play each note 4 times using alternate picking if I can. Down, up, down, up. Then I move on to the next note. And then I move on to the next note. Then the next note. Now, if you can keep these all in time, if you imagine that these were very, very slow 16th notes, you could do this along to a metronome, or a resource that I think is very useful. There's a YouTube channel called Lumbeat. He does drum beats at particular tempos. Brilliant, because it feels like you're jamming with a band. So this here. Now, what you want to do is make sure that you're looking at your fingers, because what a lot of people do is they go, oh, I'm playing guitar, I shouldn't be looking at my fingers here. And the sin that most people do is they look at the pick. Let me put it into context. If you drive, this is the windscreen and this is where you are going. Here, this is the pedals. Yes, when you first get into a car, you need to know and get the idea of where the pedals are. But if you think about it, when you drive, pedals are kinesthetic. You feel where they are with your feet. You don't look at them every time you change gear. You don't look at them every time you press the brake or the accelerator. And if you do, you know that you're going to crash because you're not looking at this end here. First, yes, it's okay. And I would suggest, if you're struggling with it and you're hitting other strings, make sure you switch, looking. Make it a real active part of your practice. And all I'm doing is 4 notes. And what's happening there is you're spending a lot of time actually on one note. If you think about it, that's a long time on one note. Now what you want to do is you want to run up this and down it 2 or 3 times. And if you find that the whole pattern is too much, then chunking is your friend. I often say that chunking is your friend. So play half the scale. Go up another string and then you play 3 strings at once. Play 2 strings. If you find there is a part where you are constantly stumbling, don't gloss over that. So say, for instance, it was going from the G string to the B string. And adding this different stretch here because we've got a minor third stretch or a major second here. So what I would do is practice that bit slowly. If you've got any sticking points, focus on the sticking point itself. And be aware that you can do this thing that I call slowing down time. So what happens is you can bend time to make it go slow motion. This is basically, you are tempo bending. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bend. Yeah, just slow it down over the problem area. If you just slow it down, and then what will happen is that gives you the time to be able to observe the kinesthetic and the visual. What this does more than anything else is it gets the patterns into your fingers. It gets them into your muscle memory. Once they're in your muscle memory, you can transfer these patterns in other places because the fretboard is simpler than you think. I'm not finished yet, however, because what we want to do is we want to stack this. We're stacking this picking pattern. So we played it 4 times. And if you listen to how long this note is played, say the first note here, 1, 2, 3, 4, the duration of that note is really something like 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to think of it as a count of 4. So what we're going to do now is we're going to divide the picking by half. So instead of playing each note 4 times, we're going to play each note twice, but to the same value. Whereas before we had 1, 2, 3, 4. What we're going to do is we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Going up and down. What we do, so we play each note twice. It's a different feeling. You will learn things quicker if you put variations. It's the same pattern that we want to learn, but if we vary it, then that's going to work gangbusters. Any rhythm that you want to put in there, you could do that to make it a variation. Yeah, just the key thing here is it's not about the picking, it's not about being musical with it, it's about learning the pattern. So what we do is we go twice, like I say, on each note. Then once you've done that 3 or 4 times, and I guarantee if you're struggling with a scale and you did this every day as part of a practice drill for your scales, it's going to be super, super easy for you to learn it. So the third part of this is, so we've done it 4 times, then twice. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this single note, and this single note is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And obviously you can see I'm playing the note once, but I'm playing it slowly. I'm listening to what would be the metronome, but it's slow and observed. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling where the note is. Also, this is something that I think of, and I used to call it railing. When I'm pressing on this note here, I'm on the 8th fret here on the B string. I'm pressing on that note. Notice I'm in the sweet spot. We have to maintain the sweet spot. What this finger is actually doing, even though it's in contact with that 8th fret on the B string, I'm actually muting out the G string and muting out the thin E string. So you kind of got to get used to building that idea in as well. It's easy to feel these things on your first finger because that's your dominant finger. That's the one that does all the pointing. When I'm on there, I can feel that I'm muting strings at either side. Look, thin E string, G string's muted. That means then that the palm mute can come down here, and it can mute out the E, the A, and the D string. So all my strings are muted apart from the one that I'm fretting. Does this make sense, guys? If this makes sense, yes, say something in the comments. But what all it's about is building the visual pattern and the kinesthetic. So, guys, this is the easiest way that I know of learning those scales. I hope that makes sense, guys. Drop some comments below and all that malarkey, and I'll see you soon. Okay, take care. Bye!